I think I'd be saying this, but Caitlin Clark just confirmed the one thing Indiana Fever fans feared the most. She's out for the rest of the WNBA season. No speculation, no hopeful updates. Just cold, heartbreaking truth. And if you think this is just another injury announcement, think again. Because what she just posted on X isn't just about her injury. It's about everything. The mismanagement, the emotional toll, the pressure, and the way this entire situation has spiraled into something much bigger than basketball. This isn't just a setback, it's a massive public unraveling of a season built around one star. This is not ideal at all. This is not something that I think anyone wants to have to deal with. This is not something from the position of the Indiana Fever organization. And now, that star just took herself off the court. Stick with me, because what I'm about to show you isn't just Caitlin's decision. It's a message. Let's start with what's confirmed. Caitlin Clark has ruled herself out for the rest of the WNBA season. Not the coach, not the front office. Caitlin herself. She dropped the bombshell on X in a brutally honest and emotional post that left no room for guessing. She wrote, "I had hoped to share a better update, but I will not be returning to play this season." No soft phrasing, no medical jargon, just the raw truth. The comeback isn't happening, not this year. She went on to say, "I spent hours in the gym every day with the singular goal of getting back out there." Disappointed isn't a big enough word to describe how I am feeling. That's the kind of honesty you don't usually hear from players this early in their career. But Caitlin's never been the type to play games with words, and when you read the full message you can feel the weight. You can sense the frustration. The months of trying, rehabbing, showing up, even when her body wouldn't cooperate. The truth is, this wasn't an easy decision. This was a choice forced by reality. Her groin injury, which seemed like a short-term thing back in July, never healed right. Every delay, every missed game, pushed her further from the court and deeper into this painful realization. But what really struck me was the tone. She wasn't just disappointed for herself. She was hurting for her team, for the fans, for the people who've shown up every night hoping to see her lighted up again. Her message was packed with humility and heartbreak. She even included black and white photos. Caitlin with her teammates, high-fiving fans, pushing herself in workouts. And the fact is that there might not be a 2027 season. I think I'll talk about it a little bit later on this live stream. My assumption is she'll play in Unrivaled. Because he's not going to take a year and 20 months off basketball. Realistically. That wasn't random. That was symbolic. This was a goodbye for now. A message that says, I'm still with you even if I'm not on the floor. This is more than just another sports injury. This is a season-altering moment. Indiana built their system around her. They promoted her. They sold jerseys. They sold hope. And now, that system has a gaping hole at the center. The locker room knows it. The fans feel it. And Caitlin, she owned it. The official word is out. Caitlin Clark is done for 2025. And with that, the Indiana Fever's entire season just shifted in a way no one was ready for. You have to understand something. This isn't just any player shutting it down. This is Caitlin Clark, the most anticipated rookie in years. A two-time All-Star in just her second season. A cultural phenomenon who didn't just elevate the Indiana Fever. She was the Indiana Fever. From the moment she was drafted number 1 overall in 2024, the team's identity shifted. Practices changed. Media coverage exploded. Ticket sales spiked. They weren't just building a team, they were building a brand around her. And she delivered. Rookie of the Year, highlight reels every week. Court vision like a veteran. She wasn't just good, she was transformational. So when she says she's done for the season, this doesn't feel like a regular injury report. It feels like a reset button being slammed mid-season. Fans didn't just buy in to watch a team, they bought in to watch her. And now they're left with an emotional void. But beyond the basketball hype, Caitlin is a competitor. She lives to play. You can see it in her eyes when she talks about the game. You can hear it in every post-game interview. She hates being sidelined. That's what makes this moment even heavier. She didn't want to quit. She wanted to push through. She tried everything, rehab, limited practices, individual drills. But her body said no. And let's be honest, Caitlin never had injury issues in college. She was durable, dominant, and dangerous. So when this groin injury popped up, it felt like a fluke, a bump in the road. But as weeks turned into months, reality started creeping in. This wasn't just a tweak, it was something more serious. You could tell the toll it was taking. Even when she traveled with the team, you'd see her on the bench, cheering, supporting, but never fully relaxed. She was stuck in limbo. Too hurt to play, too important to disappear. That pressure, it builds, especially when the entire league is watching your every move. So when she finally made the announcement, it was like a dam breaking. A mix of relief and devastation. Relief that she no longer had to pretend recovery was going smoothly. Devastation that she had to make this call in front of millions of people who idolize her. It was a case where they thought maybe she could get back and she just couldn't. But that's unlikely given the diagnosis that we were given of the injury, or maybe it was a more serious injury that we weren't told about. And if that's the case, why the fuck were they not tanking? The Caitlin Clark we know is someone who thrives under pressure, who shows up when the lights are brightest, which makes this even harder to accept. Because this isn't about effort, this isn't about toughness, this is about a young superstar realizing that sometimes even your biggest fight ends in frustration. And yet, even in her message she was thinking about others. She praised her teammates, she thanked the fans, she urged the Fever to finish strong and claim that playoff spot. That's leadership, that's character, that's Caitlin. Her presence will still be felt. But let's not pretend this isn't a huge blow, not just for the team, but for the league. Caitlin Clark isn't just another player, she's a movement. And for now, that movement's on pause. Let's stop dancing around it. The truth is, the situation didn't need to end like this. Caitlin Clark's injury wasn't handled like it should have been. And now we're seeing the consequences. For weeks we were fed vague updates, day-to-day, monitoring progress, focusing on long-term health. But behind all that careful phrasing was a lack of direction, miscommunication, and pressure. Lots of pressure. Think about it. She gets hurt in mid-July. The original word was mild groin strain. Something manageable, something short-term, but here we are, 2 months later, and not only is she still out, she's officially shut down. What happened in between? This wasn't just bad luck. This was bad management. From the moment she got hurt, Caitlin wasn't just an athlete, she was a symbol. Every day she didn't play, the team lost more momentum. So what did they do? Instead of pulling her back to fully rehab, they had her traveling with the team, posing for press, giving fans hope that she was close to returning. But the reality, the travel likely slowed her recovery. That constant public-facing role prevented her from doing what she really needed. Rest. You don't need to be a doctor to know that groin injuries demand stability and zero stress. Instead, she was walking through airports, staying in hotels and watching games courtside when she should have been locked in with trainers. Not for the cameras, not for show, for her health. And here's where it gets even worse. No one took accountability. Coaches kept it vague. The front office stayed silent. They let Caitlin carry the emotional weight publicly, while they quietly hoped for a miracle. That's not fair to her. That's not fair to the team. And it's not fair to fans who've been waiting for real answers. This could have been a 1-month recovery. Maybe 2. But now, it's a lost season. And who knows what lasting impact this will have on her body or her confidence going into next year. If this was truly about long-term protection, then she should have been shut down 6 weeks ago. Not now, when the playoffs are almost here and the team has no time to adjust. And let's be honest, there's a reason she announced it herself. She took control of the narrative because no one else was willing to. That statement on X, that wasn't a team decision. That was a personal stand. She said, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm stepping back. And good for her, but it's still a red flag for how the organization handled its biggest asset. This wasn't just a groin strain gone bad. This was a franchise-level failure to put player health above public relations. The truth is, Caitlin Clark deserved better, and so did Indiana. Let's talk about the ripple effect, because Caitlin Clark shutting it down for the season doesn't just affect her. It shakes the entire foundation of the Indiana Fever. And honestly, no one in that organization seems ready to deal with the fallout. Right now, with just a few games left in the regular season, the Fever are clinging to a playoff hope. And let's be real, that hope was hanging by a thread, even with the idea that Caitlin might return. Out for almost an entire season, yes, the fan base is up, but that's due to an expansion team, and that's due to an expansion team realistically, a combination of everything. San Francisco being one of what was going to be the top place for women's sports, the Golden State Valkyries having a huge fan base, mostly of people that have been priced out of going to Warriors games since they moved from the Oracle to wherever they're playing now. Now that she's confirmed she's done, that thread just snapped. Caitlin wasn't just their best player, she was their emotional anchor, their offensive engine, the face of every game plan. When she stepped on the court, defenses shifted, teammates spaced differently, and the team's confidence shot up. Now, that structure is gone. We're watching a team that was built around her suddenly scrambling to redefine itself at the worst possible time. Chemistry is off, rotations are shaky, and let's not ignore the elephant in the room. There's no leader on the floor right now. No one who can take over when the momentum swings, and that's not a knock on the other players, that's just reality. You don't replace Caitlin Clark, you rebuild after her. But here's where it gets deeper. This doesn't just affect the season, it affects next season too. Because now you've got questions. How serious is this injury really? Will it linger into training camp? Will she be 100% next year? Will the front office change how they manage her? Will teammates trust the system after how this was handled? The Fever took a bet this season. They pushed hard on branding, media, fan engagement, all on the back of one superstar. Now that star's not on the floor and the support system looks exposed. That kind of marketing strategy works if the player's producing. But when injuries hit and your entire team identity is tied to one player, you're in dangerous territory. And the emotional toll, it's real. You think the locker room isn't feeling the pressure? You think they're not worn down from carrying the burden, while the media keeps asking about someone who isn't playing? That tension builds. Morale dips. Trust erodes. Coaches can give all the next player up speeches they want. But deep down, they know. They were never prepared for this outcome. And that's what worries me. This wasn't a freak injury that ended a playoff run. This was a mismanaged, dragged-out situation that slowly drained the energy out of a rising team. And it could have been prevented. If they had shut her down earlier, the team would have had time to adapt. Instead, they held out hope too long. And now they're entering the final stretch tired, unfocused, and without a clear identity. This isn't just about missing the playoffs, it's about what kind of team they'll even be when they show up next year. Because the fallout from the season, it's only just begun. Let me give it to you straight. From where I'm sitting, this moment isn't just another player being shut down for the year. It's a warning shot. It's a sign that something deeper is broken, not just physically for Caitlin Clark, but structurally for the Indiana Fever. I've followed this team since Caitlin came into the league. I've seen the hype, the highlights, the headlines. She wasn't just good, she was a game changer. And the Fever knew it. That's why they leaned into her so hard. She wasn't just the future, she was the only plan. And that's where the problem started. You don't build an entire franchise strategy around one player and have no contingency if she goes down. But that's exactly what happened. The coaching staff looked lost without her. The front office froze up. And the players, God bless them, They've been playing their hearts out, but they've been playing confused. Because when the identity of your team walks off the court, and the leadership doesn't step in to redefine it, you're left with nothing but guesswork. If Caitlin is not 1 million, if this turns out to be a thing for Caitlin's career, the WNBA goes back to where it was pre-Caitlin. It does. Because if you take out Fever fans go to games, and Caitlin is such an anomaly that fans go to watch her play. Now, I want to be clear. I don't blame Caitlin for a second. She fought, she rehabbed, she traveled, she stayed involved. She gave everything she had until her body told her it was time to stop. And even then, she delivered her own news, on her own terms, with grace and brutal honesty. That's a leader. But one player can't carry the entire emotional and strategic load of a franchise, not when she's healthy, and definitely not when she's injured. And I'll say this too, this moment right here, it could be a turning point for Caitlin's career, not because it's the end, but because it's the first time she's been forced to pause. And you know what? That pause might be what makes her even greater. It's going to sharpen her perspective, build her mental resilience, and help her come back with even more purpose. That's who she is. But the Fever, they've got some soul-searching to do. This season exposed the cracks in their foundation. If they don't use this off-season to build a better support system, for Caitlin, for the rest of the roster, for the coaches, they're going to waste the generational talent they were lucky enough to draft. So, here's my take, unfiltered. Caitlin will come back stronger. But, Indiana, you better be ready to meet her at that level, because she deserves more than a media circus and a poorly managed comeback. She deserves a team that's built to last, with or without her on the floor. And now I want to hear from you. Was Caitlin Clark's season-ending decision the right call? Do you think the Fever handled her injury responsibly? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every one of them. And if you want more honest, no-fluff breakdowns like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Because over here we don't sugarcoat the headlines, we break them wide open.